the bottom, I think you pointed out something very important. I know for public companies, isn't doesn't a security or data executive have to be on the board nowadays? Hi, it's Alex Jarrett with Technology Executives Club, and you're watching another episode of CIOs Unleashed, where you'll get insights, inspiration, and strategies that actually work. Be sure and visit us at technologyexecutivesclub.com, where you can get your first masterclass workshop on demand worth $297 for free. That's technologyexecutivesclub.com. Nowadays.
They do, which is, to me, is really encouraging.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many board meetings I've sat through where, and the board members by nature are subject matter experts in their own areas. None of those areas with exceptions, tend to be cybersecurity.
Yeah.
So you could be an incredibly good board member in the finance area, but you have little impact on this. Having to have that accountability in board member it is twofold. Number one, it's the accountability where it should sit. Number two, that person should be a great ally to the CISO or Director of Information Security.
Yeah.
You should form a relationship with those folks, that they should be your biggest help on it. I mean, how many board meetings has CISOs sat through where they get 10 minutes every quarter or every 6 months to present on the state of cybersecurity in your organization? I mean, I struggle to get through this in 25 minutes. You start talking around the threat environment of an organization that is complex, it's almost impossible. So having that board member on public companies is a great start.
Well, the thing that's interesting to me about that is, in addition to the public companies you have a natural ally to go to, but these private companies, these mid-market private companies, I'm seeing a way for people in our group, our community, to enhance their careers is to potentially become that chief data officer or chief security officer. So it certainly is a way to, help your career and help the company at the same time. And the other thing that we see is that you've got to step into the shoes of being a leader, which you talked about. I don't know I forgot what slide it was on, but you talked about, I think it was in the beginning, where you have to really step into the shoes, and you didn't use that phrase, but it was right in the beginning when you talked about Machiavelli. Go to that under change of heart, and I like how you jumped on to Machiavelli. I can't even say his name. That was nice, but it's true. You got to lead, and I always say that I've never seen a VP of marketing or sales ask for permission for anything ever. So I'm not telling IT guys and ladies to totally be all the way, John, but we got to move a little farther, right?
We have to play in the C-suite. If you don't play in the C-suite, make relationships there, and introduce some of these concepts of what is true risk. In languages, as I said, we can all talk about the big picture risks out there, ransomware. We can all talk about those type of things. Break that down into an impact statement and the risk we have in the organization into language of what could happen. And one of the ways we do that is actually through some tabletop testing and threat modeling with the C-suite, where you sit down and take them through one of these. They convince themselves that they've got a problem.
Now, do you help your clients sell it to the board?
We do.
Because it seems to me that's a huge benefit of what you're talking about.
Yeah. So ultimately, at the end of the day, we make money as consultants by things happening. If we can't help a client frame that in a way that is meaningful to the organization, and as I said, we found in this before. There's times when we just can't get organizational change management into these big initiatives. And you could pretty much see the writing on the wall.
It's not going to work without this.
It's just not going to happen.
So go to your last slide while you answer this question. So if you have a new client, they say, yeah, I understand, I get this. How do I sell it to the board? What is your process if you have a new potential client? What would be like the first step that you would do for these folks to sort of help them move this initiative along and their overall initiative along?
So first of all, you've got to understand what they're doing, who they are, what they're doing.
Hmm.
So again, part of cyber, as we've developed. Sorry, I'm just about getting there. As cyber's developed out, is my background before I came into cybersecurity was a process engineer
Yeah,
for British
makes
Airways.
sense.
Before you do anything there, you've got to understand what the environment is first of all. What can hurt them, and that's just not from a threat environment. That's also from a commercial environment. What would happen to your customers? What would your customers do if their data was breached? If you lost your intellectual property, if your PII disappeared out there and you lost your trust relationship.
Yeah,
So you've got to start at that level of framing it. Again, in language that they understand. From that, you've got to understand what risks they have in their environment that could cause those things to happen. So again, there's no point talking generic risk.
yeah,
I can come up with 20 war stories tomorrow to why you should do something. All right,
sure.
let's now push this down into what can happen here. And again, if we're talking CMMC, for example, this is CMMC is not about vulnerabilities and risks themselves. It's about saying do it or don't do it.
Yeah,
If you don't do it, this is the impact over time on your. You've got 5-year contracts out there with the DoD. Every time once this comes into law, one of those comes up for renewal. If you are not compliant and certified, you've lost that contract.
yeah.
And to the point where you get to zero type
So
situation.
So this is how you get a hold of John. We're out of time, but it was a great segment. Ties into a workshop we recently did on stakeholder management. So we're with you on this. This is really a key topic. And it's the first time I've seen it applied to cyber, but it's a really important field that I think you're leading, John. So nice job with this. And everybody, if these folks give you a call, say hello. And John, have a great day. We appreciate you. Appreciate you being here with us today, and the folks, the good people at Plus Consulting, which is now an iVision company. Hi, it's Alex Jarrett, and thanks for watching another episode of CIOs Unleashed, brought to you by TechnologyExecutivesClub.com. If you like today's episode, be sure and comment to join the conversation, and like, share, and follow. And don't forget, visit us at TechnologyExecutivesClub.com, where you can get your first masterclass workshop on demand worth $297 for free. That's TechnologyExecutivesClub.com.